If you've been feeling like the way you're supposed to market your business just isn't working anymore, or honestly never really felt like you, then this episode is going to hit in a very real way. Because I don't know about you, but lately I've been looking around at the online space and thinking, when did this all get so noisy and performative? And more importantly, when did it get so disconnected from actual thought leadership? Now, you also might be wondering, how do you build a business that actually reflects who you are instead of just chasing whatever strategy is trending this week? But what if the real opportunity right now isn't actually on the platforms that everyone keeps telling you to focus on? That's exactly why I wanted to bring Julie Ciardi onto the show. Julie is the founder of Ignite Her, a global movement helping women step into their full potential using human design as a blueprint for how they're actually wired to lead and build their businesses. She's a former VP of marketing at IBM with over 25 years of corporate leadership experience, has built multiple 6 and 7-figure businesses, and now blends traditional strategy with what she calls a more feminine, frequency first approach to business, where she's helping women 50 and older step into their legacy. But what really stood out to me about Julie isn't just her experience, it's how she's completely rethinking the way we communicate, grow, and show up online, including building a thriving business without relying on traditional social media the way most people are. In this conversation, we talk about why so many experts are feeling burnt out by Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, what's actually changing in the online space right now, and why a platform you might not have really paid much attention to, Substack, is very quickly becoming a powerful alternative for building real connection, real authority, and real momentum in your online business. We also get into how to figure out the right way for you to communicate your ideas, whether that's writing, speaking, video, or something else entirely, and how tools like human design can help you stop second guessing yourself and start trusting your own voice again. So, if you've been feeling overwhelmed by all the options, questioning what's actually worth your time, or you're just looking for a way to grow your business that feels more aligned and sustainable, you're going to want to listen to this one all the way through. Let's get into it. All right, everyone. I am so excited to have with us on the show today, Julie Ciardi. Welcome to the Nourished CEO podcast.
Hey, Laura, thank you so much. I am so excited about this conversation. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and I've been poking around at Julie's stuff since I was introduced to her and was just like, oh my gosh, I love everything she does. I love her energy. I was saying we're both kind of in well, I'm no longer in New Jersey, but I'm from that energy. So I can definitely roll with
A Northeast
the
girl.
Northeast, yes. So the reason I wanted to have Julie come on the show is because, I mean, variety of things, but I just think it's really cool the kind of things that she's sharing about how to communicate your expertise in different ways on different platforms, maybe even getting off of traditional social media, which I know a lot of my audience is like ears are perked up. And really understanding what that can look like and how to know what to do next. Because I don't know if you're seeing this with your clients. I know this is something we see all the time. People feel so overwhelmed by all the options. I've been in business for like almost 12 to 15 years or something, and we didn't have this many options when I got started. So it was like, you have a podcast, you have a blog, that's basically what you did, right? So I think so many options and so much noise about what you should do, what's right. Oh my gosh, you need Instagram, you need TikTok, you need blah, blah, blah. I would love to have this conversation around how, first of all, how do you decide what is best for you? And we're going to get into Substack specifically as an option, which before we hit record, Julie was explaining it's actually way more diverse than I even realized. So I'm very excited about it. And really just understanding how to communicate your value in a way that feels good so you can be actually excited to share your expertise and not feel like you're grinding to just post every day. So anyway, Julie, tell me and our audience a little bit about yourself, just so we have like a little background. Who are you? What do you do in your business? And what got you into Substack?
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love this conversation. And I think it's going to be more pertinent than ever because people are done with a lot of the slop that's on social right now and for all sorts of reasons. And so they are looking for other avenues that are more effective too. So I'm really excited about this conversation. A little bit about me. I'm a mom of three. I'm 51. So I like to say I'm now a mom of older ones, right? Like it's so common for someone to say, "Oh, I'm a mom of littles." Well, I'm a mom of older ones, and it's awesome. I actually write about it on Substack because when I was younger, a younger mom with younger kids, no one ever told me, like, it's just going to keep getting better and it's amazing. They just kept telling me it's going to go real fast, so enjoy it now. And I'm like, oh, stressed and all the things, and like thinking I better enjoy this because it's going to pass me by. Well, I can tell anyone that's listening, it gets better and better and better. I have a 23 and a 21-year-old and then a 12-year-old, and it is magical. I just got back from a week vacation with all of them, the whole family of 5, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy spending time with my older children. So I just have to say that. I actually spent most of my life in business. I was actually trained in business. I have my master's in business, and I was a vice president at IBM for 20 years before I ended up leaving in 2018 and starting my own business. So, like yourself, I've been in business for quite some time now, about 8, 9 years or so in business. And I can tell you that one of the biggest challenges when I first came into the online space after really growing up in business. I mean, I started studying business at 18 years old, right? And when I came into the online space in my early 40s, I was just so confused. It just, what was being taught, there was, like you said, a lot of options. And here's what I did know. I was coming out of boardrooms and very professional places. And I look and I'm like, okay, so I have to kind of dance on these videos, and I can only say something in 15-second clips, and I got to create all this content, and should I be on YouTube? And it was just, everything got muddled. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to help women, and I got really frustrated. And it's actually my whole journey into business in the online space has really been built not on organic social media. I just decided at the very beginning of all this, that's not the game I was going to play. And I knew that I wanted to spend most of my time creating content for my clients. I wanted to spend most of my time creating thought leadership and books, not being on a content hamster wheel for platforms that wanted me to perform like an actor or a comedian or a reality star, quite frankly, right? That's kind of what's needed to grow organically on Instagram, let's say. That's not what I wanted to do. And so I'm pretty proud of the fact that, I'm a 7-figure founder who did not build her business on organic social. After I made my initial, first 6 figures, kind of the old-fashioned way, going on podcasts, talking to actual humans, doing the rounds, I then started paying for ads. And I've been paying for ads for 6 years straight, haven't stopped. It allows me to have the time to do what I really love to do, and that is to create for my clients. And like I said, thought leadership. And so we'll get to it, but I can't wait to talk about Substack because it's a totally different kind of platform, and one that feels so in alignment for the kind of women that are coming from professional backgrounds or really want to have deeper, more long form connection with the people that they're here to serve.
I love that. And I could be wrong, but for some reason, I remember maybe it was you saying that you've only been on Substack since like the beginning of this year
December.
intentionally. December.
December.
Okay. So that's pretty, I feel like really a short timeline as far as just getting on in December. And then I've seen quite a growth trajectory for you.
So
What drew you to Substack, or like where were you putting content out before you started getting into Substack?
So I've been podcasting, since day one. So 8 years ago, I started podcasting, but even that, I mean, it wasn't like I was organically growing from podcasting. I was growing if I went on someone else's podcast and ads. That was really the 2 main things. I really wasn't putting a ton of content out there, to be honest. Again, running ads is how I decided I wanted to get my name out there and to grow the business so that I could, again, spend most of my time with my clients. And so what happened last year was really exciting, actually. We had a really huge growth year. We went from having just under 200 clients at the beginning of last year, 2025, to ending the year with almost 800. And so our team grew, everything grew, the whole mission grew. And at the same time, working with one of my mentors, she had started to go after a book deal. And the publisher that she was working with said, you really need to be on Substack if you want to be published, and get onto like the New York Times list, all that. You really need to be on Substack. And she was like, I don't know. I don't really write. That's not, I just want to get the book out. And he's like, no, it's important. And I kept hearing, when you keep hearing something, it's like kept coming in front of me. I'm like, all right, universe, all right, let me check this out. And I really had wanted nothing to do with it because I just said I did not grow my business by trying to create a big, organic content engine out there. Last thing I wanted to do was start now. But what I found in working with all of these women, most of the women that I work with are over 45, coming from professional backgrounds. And they were very drawn to me because they didn't want to build on social media either. And when I discovered what Substack was all about, I felt like I struck gold, honestly. I was like, okay, this is going to be huge for me personally and my business and my brand. But oh, did I discover what is going to help all of my incredible women that I adore that really just want to get their voices heard. And I have this whole saying that, you don't pick a niche, you pick a soapbox, right? So that is the new way to niche, right? Is when you speak and you talk about your convictions, probably getting spicy and, and really being honest and really sharing, you're going to repel the people that aren't for you, and the people that are for you are going to come like you just like blew a horn specifically for them, right? And so to me, when I found Substack, really the end of last year, but it's been around since 2020. So it's not like it's brand new on the scene. But what's changed is it went from being a newsletter platform. Basically, that's what it was. For years was a newsletter platform. You could monetize your newsletter on it. I think that's why I wasn't that interested in it. I really wasn't looking at a newsletter model. But when timing's everything, it was really introduced to me, when I looked into it, I'm like, oh my, this is a multimedia platform. Almost consider it your media company. It's your publishing house. It is not just writing, it is everything. It is video. It is podcasting. I actually moved my podcast off of Libsyn, where it has been since 2018, and it's now on Substack. You can have multiple podcasts on Substack. You can have a private podcast on Substack. You can do video, live video. You can do video with others, right? Of course, you can write and you can have newsletters and you can have the blogs and all of that traditional. But when I saw all that, and here's the big kicker, organic reach is still possible on that platform. And I can tell you, in the 8 years in business, I haven't grown organically at all, right? And so all of a sudden, I'm just showing up in this platform, just being me, feeling like I can just say what I want to say, long form, because I'm a long form girl. I am not a short form girl. And I just started to explode because there is organic reach on there. And so from December till now, which is, at the time of this recording, early April, I mean, my publication on Substack became a bestseller. We've monetized incredibly so. We have, I think right now, I just looked earlier this morning, like 415 paid subscribers, in our paid tier. It's just alive and bubbling. And I get so excited when I get into that platform because the culture is so different. And we can talk about that too. But it's like you're in a totally different world. There's no trolls. There's no ads. There's nothing that's making you feel bad. And I was starting to feel like my nervous system, especially as a woman at 51 years old, I am like the number one target, okay, of everything out there right now. I mean, even Alex Hormozy has ads running that if you're a company targeting women in their 50s around menopause or perimenopause, I want to invest in you because it's so big, right? So when I open up the Instagram app, all it is flooding me with ads or accounts to tell me all the things I'm doing wrong in menopause, all the supplements I need, all the things. And I'm like, it really started at first I was like, oh, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And now I'm like, this is actually making all of my symptoms worse. It's too much. It's all this anxiety and all the things. Same thing on Facebook. And so None of that's on Substack. There are no ads. There's none of that. There's this community feel. There's a culture. And there's so many places I want to go with you to talk about it. I'll kind of stop talking so you can ask some questions about it. But I really want all the listeners to know it's not a blogging newsletter platform. It really is that multimedia hub for your business.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like I just have like 30 questions come and go. That whole thing, I'm like, all right, where do I want to go with this? So you said you moved your podcast off of Libsyn. I guess, is that something that if you are currently creating elsewhere, like right now I have a podcast, obviously you're on it. And then I have a blog that's on a WordPress site, and that's kind of, it's the old school. It's been what I've been doing since literally 2011. Do you end up just putting everything into Substack and moving it all off, or is there like repurposing of things? What's the actual strategy there?
Yeah, so it's great. I mean, if you're just starting, obviously you're starting everything fresh. But if you have, an existing podcast like I did, you can actually move it over to Substack. So it just all comes over with it, which is amazing. If you want, or if you want to start fresh, you can start fresh, all the things. From a blog standpoint, this is where I geek out, because I know because you've been doing this for years, right? So you do the podcast episode, then all the steps that go along after a podcast episode is done, right? You've got to obviously get the write it all up, put it out on the onto the website as a blog, send out the emails, do all the things. When it comes to Substack, a lot of that gets done for you. So let's say we were actually doing this, even if we did this particular podcast on Substack, okay? It would even do more for you. So let's say we did it on Substack, we recorded it there live like this. It would actually generate incredible reels and clips with captions after it's over. You don't have to do a thing. It will send it out to all of your email that have subscribed to you. It will then, once it's done processing, you can actually then directly post it to your publication as a blog post. So everything's fast and simple and all in one space, which is incredible. And now, of course, if someone's got an existing blog, it's a decision, right? Like, do you want to just repurpose and bring it over? Do you want to point to it? I mean, there's lots of strategies, but what I love is that the integration of, let's say you have a blog post in there around your podcast episode like today. And let's say, as there will be, just real juicy things that we talk about in here, right? You could take this one episode and that one blog post, and the way Substack works, and you could have your VA do this or someone on your team, they could repurpose this so much, it's insane, by literally going into let's say the blog post and just highlighting with their cursor a great quote, let's say, right? Like, oh, this was awesome. This was juicy. They highlight it. When we're done highlighting, they say, send quote in a note. Yes. You hit yes. Now this beautiful quote, it's like already formatted for you in a little graphic, whatever you highlighted, gets generated, and you can say something about it or just share it like that. It goes out to the feed of Substack. If someone reads that quote and they're like, wow, like this is really powerful, what Laura was talking about, they can just click that, and now they're on the blog post. They can listen to the podcast. It's like this there's nothing, you can't do that on any other platform, right? And you could keep doing that. You could have one podcast episode that you continue to promote with beautiful snippets that are so easy to create and keep driving traffic to it. And it's such an easy way. And there's organic reach too. So the more people that are commenting on something or liking it or whatever, it really does get promoted, not like I've seen in any other platform.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Like,
very cool. I know there's a lot, it eliminates a lot of steps,
yeah.
which is really cool.
Well, because I even think about everything that you're saying. So we do a podcast episode. I take the transcript, and I should be outsourcing this, but I've been doing a lot of it myself because I am a little bit of a control freak with my communication.
Oh, girl, me too.
For better or worse.
Me too. 100%.
So basically, record the episode, get the transcript, run it through ChatGPT to get the show notes, put it on Libsyn, put the lips in, embed it in WordPress. I also then turn the transcript into a written format as a blog, put the blog on WordPress with it, schedule it, then create that as an email, give it to my team member to schedule it in an active campaign. And then what else? Oh, and then my VA takes the blog post and then turns that into a carousel for Instagram. I'm like, what else do we do with this thing? And now you're just
There,
telling me
there
to
you go.
basically like do it all in one platform with very little
Exactly.
hands having to touch it.
And a lot of easy repurposing and all the things and sharing. The thing that I absolutely love, I wrote an article on Substack called The Four Commitments of Substack, because it kind of like the four agreements, because I was so blown away by what I was observing. And so there's this sense of community, this sense of just this culture. There's this just inherent collaboration, right? So what Substack does is it makes it so easy for people to share really good work. And it really, it's a stats thing too. When someone shares something that's really valuable, they look good too, right? So people are constantly sharing each other's stuff. And it creates this growth and this camaraderie, And so anyone else can highlight and stack your stuff too. So let's say, I just did this not that long ago. I was reading someone's blog and I was like, this is so good. And I took a line of this person's blog and I shared it in a beautiful quote. But it's sharing their post. It's sharing their actual what they've written. So it's just this beautiful culture that's over there of collaboration, connection. It's real humans. There's, I don't know about you right now, but again, also on these other platforms, there's so much AI junk, right?
Ugh, yeah,
And
bots.
and all these accounts that aren't real and putting out all this junk, that's not there. And so there's people feel this sense of calm. They, and I'm sure you felt it. I know I felt it, imposter syndrome or all these other things on different platforms. It's just, I don't know, it feels really safe. It just feels safe to be who you are. And what it seems to be doing right now, at least now, is it really curates your feed and connects you to truly the right people and so I find that I can go into Substack. I'm not a big scroller, but when I'm in there, it's like my people, and it didn't take long. I mean, I've only been there since December, but because it really pays attention to what you're writing about and what you're reading and liking and connecting with, that it just keeps giving you more of that. And so your feed is just this beautiful place of your people. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I would imagine something about Substack that's probably a little different than things like Instagram or TikTok is it sounds like you really have to be someone who actually has legitimately valuable things to share. Because that's something that I've been talking to some friends recently and kind of talking about my own Instagram about this, where you'll see these posts where it's like, here's how my client, went from 300K in a year to 300K in 1 month. And I told her to do one thing and this is what happened. So go to this link to find out what that was. And I was like, literally nothing that I got that was
No
valuable
clickbait.
from that. Yeah. And it's these really kind of like well-known people doing it. And I'm just like, this is ruining the platform because you scroll through and you either see the AI garbage, cat videos or whatever, it's fine. Get some, a laugh out of it. And then you see something like that and you're swiping through like, where is the value? And then you don't get any value. And I know a lot of the marketing people are teaching that because I guess it makes sales, whatever. But it's like, that's how I've started to feel with Instagram, where it's like everything that I used to enjoy about it feels like it's just getting like totally crowded out by all that garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like, at some point I'm like, man, and I did this. I counted actually one time. I think I counted out of 10 posts on my feed, 6 or 7 of them were either people I don't follow or ads.
Yeah.
And I
That's
was
my
like,
point.
this is what I want to see. I don't want to see any. I mean, I don't mind ads. I run ads too. Like, I don't mind seeing an ad here and there, but it's like, why is 70% of my feed things that I haven't actually opted in to ask to see?
Correct. And so here's the challenge, right? And I really believe this, one of two things are going to happen. either, Meta's going to figure it out that like when so many people are not spending the time on the platforms anymore, and people like you and I and maybe spend less money on the platform because of, like they will probably make changes. I mean, they're not
Hmm.
stupid,
I hope so.
but I don't know how they will or when they will. But the thing is I am preparing my business for they may not fix this.
Hmm.
And or they may miss the window to fix this. And here's what I believe to my core. Like, it actually gives me the chills a little bit to even just say it out loud because I really believe it. I do believe that our best buyers, our best clients are leaving the platforms and or spending way less time on them. I know that's me. I'm most people's best buyer. I am spending way less time on those platforms because of all the things that you just said. So if the best buyers aren't spending the time on the platforms, the ads aren't going to work so well, especially for higher value driven things, right?
Hmm.
And so my strategy right now to prepare is I'm actually having a huge focus of all my ads on Meta, so on Facebook and on Instagram, driving people to Substack.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm going to take advantage of people still being there as long as I can to tell them to come over here.
Hmm.
Because I really do believe that people are going to not be on those platforms in the same way, and that will absolutely have an impact to people's bottom lines. I do think that, again, Meta is, their business model is very different than Substack's business model. Meta's business model is ads and ad
Hmm.
revenue, and businesses like you and I and bigger businesses spending money on ads. When that return is not what people want anymore, the ad spend will start to go down and Meta will really be taking a hit, right? Substack, there is talk that they may end up doing ads. I think they'll be very different kind of ads than what we're seeing. But right now there's no ads, and their business model is not ad revenue. Their
Hmm.
business model is, and it's free. So Substack's free. But when you start making money on the platform, I think it's like 10%, they take 10%, which I would rather that than ads flooding my feed, right?
Hmm.
So the business model is very, very different, right? Who knows? We may see Meta do something like this where they know that maybe it's, a higher tier. Maybe we pay, right? Maybe you and I begin to pay for Instagram or Facebook and we have a totally different experience on it. That's not their model right now. We'll see. But
Hmm.
there's such a difference. And so I don't want to miss the window. And so that's why I'm really trying to make sure, because my whole business really has been built using Meta ads. And if
Hmm.
those start working, that's going to be a big problem. And so I'm
Hmm.
kind of also leveraging Substack as a protective mechanism, honestly, for this business that I've built and continuing to be able to grow it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the ads thing is such a kind of double-edged sword, right? Because we want to be able to use it to reach new people more predictably, but then there's a lot of a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that's like, I don't want to see that. Or, like you say something on a phone call and you're like, wait, why am I getting ads for this now? And it's just like, I think
Crazy.
the experience is delicate to say the least
Yes.
at the moment. And yeah, I mean, I think with Substack having ads, I could see pros and cons. And obviously, if it's not there right now, there's a window of opportunity to really get the organic growth.
Yes, early adopters. I mean, so many of the, I call them celebrity entrepreneurs, but the coaches, everyone knows their name, kind of coaches, they're that way because they were first to market. That's all.
Yeah.
They're not the
Hmm.
best. They were just first to market. And the market's matured. And so they're scurrying too right now. Like everyone
Hmm.
is. Everyone does not know what's happening and where things are going. And everything that worked is, because you've been in business a long time too. The things that worked in the 2010s and the early 20s, not working the same anymore. And we've got to adjust, right? And so I think that Substack is a great opportunity with a level playing field. I'm watching, Gary V posting on Substack, and I'll get posts of my own that get more engagement than Gary V's. That would happen on no other platform ever, at no other platform. And it's crazy, right? So, and I'm watching, and you go back to something you said that I think is really, really important and really important for your listeners. It does mean you have to have something to say. And so what I'm watching is I am watching because people are knowing this is a growing platform. So I'm watching people that have like 3 million followers on Instagram are trying to come over to Substack, and it's falling flat because they've either delegated it to their teams or they're trying to repurpose Instagram type content or YouTube type content, and they're just trying to, repurpose it and put it on Substack. It doesn't work. It's
Mhm.
not. And if you're not having reciprocity with people, if you're not having real conversations over there, if you're not really creating really value driven work, it's gonna fall flat, which is amazing, which I love. So yeah, you need to like have a voice. You need to have something that you're here to say. And as you and I were talking kind of in the green room first, you can decide which works best for you. Do you like to speak? Do you like to be on video? Do you love live? Do you love recorded video? Do you love to write? Is it long form? Is it short form? All of that flies on Substack, and you can repurpose whatever piece works best for you to start with.
Mhm.
So like, but you really, if you have something to say, this is the place to begin to say it, because you
Mhm.
can say it safely, you can say it the way it works for you, and in the format that works best for you as well, which is incredible.
Tell me what you mean by say it safely.
So there's something about Instagram and even Facebook, but a lot of Instagram. There's a lot of trolls. You post something out there, and there's people that, wanna just say negative stuff. I mean, you look at pretty much, and I think there's a little bit of a safety mechanism in a lot of us that witness and watch what happened there, and then we hold ourselves back.
Mhm.
We stay small, or I know for me, I've definitely, I say muted myself, but I just mean I've vanilla'd myself, right? Like I'm like I like, oh, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to. I'm gonna get you'll get blasted, right? If you say this way or that way, and everyone's fighting with each other, right?
Mhm.
No one can say anything right on some of these platforms, right?
Mhm.
Someone's gonna hate you, or someone's gonna, and it's just it can feel very unsafe, right?
Mhm.
The thing that, again, it goes back to this culture that's on Substack. It's I have yet to encounter anything like that. People genuinely are caring about each other, are really trying to engage like genuinely. I know I had tried a couple years ago to see if LinkedIn was going to be better than, Instagram, because I didn't like for all the reasons we just said. LinkedIn is full of bots, and it's full of,
Yeah.
not even bots per se. It's full of a strategy that's been taught on LinkedIn for about 5 years or so, which is, okay, you go and follow all these people. You make sure that you comment first on their thing, and you make sure that your comment is so valuable that it like everyone starts commenting on your comment so they see who you are, right? It's like this whole game. And then what
Mhm.
people do is they use AI to write those comments. So they'll grab the person's post, they throw it in AI to get a comment. And all the comments you can tell are AI, and like it's not real. It's not genuine. It's not this connection. And I'm like, this isn't my place either. So when I
Mhm.
came over to Substack, I'm like, these are real, genuine connections, conversations. I can't even tell you, like, I've met new friends over there, in this beautiful way because we're on similar missions or whatever it is, or sharing different perspectives. I'm also finding a lot. Well, I mean, my place is curated now because of who I follow, and my whole thing is 50 Not Finished is my book. But there are so many women over the age of 45, 50 on that platform. I mean, into their 70s and 80s, writing beautiful things, getting their voices heard. I've never seen anything like that on Instagram. So to me, it just feels like that. I feel it, and I think that a lot of my clients say it. They just feel like they can be themselves there, and they feel really safe to just write the pieces, pour their heart out into a blog or into a podcast. And they're not worried. I have a lot of my clients are afraid of being visible. They're afraid of being
Mhm.
seen. And I think it goes to all of the judgment and, the trolls and all the things. And so there's this safety there, which feels really good. You like relax. When
Mhm.
I just went live on Substack earlier today and just was teaching like live to the entire platform. Like it was wide open, it was public. I loathe doing that on Instagram. I've never felt comfortable doing that on Instagram. So interesting, right? Like there's a
Mm.
lot of reasons and a lot of things I'm sure underneath that, but I'm not alone in when I say that. So many of my clients feel the same way, where they just feel this safety.
Yeah. Well, I think even if you haven't experienced an attack or, the mob coming for you on Instagram, I think if you're seeing it happen to other people, obviously you're going to be like, well, I don't want that. I don't want that kind of conversation happening on my stuff. So I can totally see how if you're not seeing that when you go into Substack, you're not like prepared for the threat, even if, because again, not everybody has even had that happen to them. They're just anticipating it and hedging against it just in case. And so I could totally see, if you just don't see that happening, it just feels like, well, actually, I don't think I'm going to get attacked for my opinion on this platform.
And you can like your nervous system's more relaxed and you can be you and authentic. And I think that's what's so beautiful.
Hmm. Speaking of being you, I want to talk a little bit about how somebody can use this platform in a way that best suits them in terms of their wiring, their design, that kind of thing. I know you're really into human design as a tool for finding that. And I have been like hyper fixated on all the birth chart stuff and like, oh my gosh, this is so accurate, like crazy.
Crazy.
It's wild. So with that, so this is one of the things about Substack. I am so glad we're having this conversation because honestly, I was speaking about Substack as hey, if you really like to write and you like long form, like that's a great option, right? I was just kind of casually throwing it out as like, here's one option for you. So now that I have been corrected and I know now that actually it's pretty much any type of communication you want to do, how do you help your clients identify their best way of communicating? Because I think for me, um, a lot of up until I started getting into this birth chart stuff and being able to use AI to do like pattern analysis for people, a lot of it was just I would have like a general instinct for what was best for my clients. Not that I would like force that on them, but I read people very quickly and it's like, oh yeah, this I'm getting the impression that you're really great on camera. Like I want to see more of you on camera, right? So that kind of thing. But I think the cool thing I've seen, and I would love to hear your experience with it, given that this is like a big focus of yours, how are you seeing things like human design or things that are a little bit less, I don't know, some of us that probably came from a very like science driven, logical, like I need the proof of how this is going to work perspective. Getting into this is like, I don't know what's going on, but this feels very accurate to me. How do you approach helping your clients identify their best channel for
Yeah.
communication, especially if maybe they have some like woundings or like I remember when I first started podcasting, I used to get criticized about my voice and I just kind of pushed through it. But like that's a very common thing for women to be told, oh, you sound like a valley girl or whatever. How do you help them identify and then lean into the gifts, the different communication gifts that I believe everybody has? Like we're all communicators in some way, shape, or form. How are you helping them find those and then use them?
Well, I love this question because just before I kind of answer on the communication, listen, I am such a science logic girl. It's crazy, right? So I'm with you. When I poo-pooed human design for the longest time until, again, kept being put in my face, kept being put in my face. I'm like, all right, all right, fine, let me look. I come at it from a very practical standpoint, I really do. But of course, the backing of it, and I wouldn't even say it's woo because I actually really believe it's very quantum physics, driven, honestly. And so, like, what I like to say about human design is to me, it's like three things. It's the ancient I Ching, which is like older than the Bible, right? So it's ancient human wisdom, it's quantum physics, and it's your divine spirit. It's your soul, right? It's those three things, and no matter what you believe. And we all have this, we're so different, right? And the thing I love about human design is at its core, it is the science of differentiation. And a lot of people might know it at the highest level, which is like, oh, I'm a manifesting generator. Oh, I'm a manifester. Or I'm a reflector. It's so much more than that. The depth is insane. I mean, we go into it where you have something called the communication center, right? It's also known as the throat. We call it the communication center. There are 11 voices in the communication center. But not only are there 11 voices in the communication center, there are 6 different flavorings of each one. So there's 66 different types of voices in there. And even just studying that one element, my clients start to feel more confident in what they want to say and how they're here to say it. So what we find to be so fascinating is I don't really ever tell them anything. I don't read their designs. I'm not a big fan of that.
Mhm.
We want people to be able to study their own because
Mhm.
that's where the breakthroughs come from. Right. So I have custom GPTs that go with it, and then they really sit and they start to dig in like to the meat of their design. Almost like they're talking to me, but they're talking to, we call it a Julie bot, right? My custom GPTs. And they start to dig in. So what happens is that like it's so complex, right? Because well, it's complex, but it's there's a lot of depth to it.
Mhm.
It could be their communication center and all, what particular voice that they have. It could be their type, right? So, a manifester versus a generator is going to figure out what they're here to say in a very different process,
Mhm.
right? The generator is going to respond to something that they're seeing or encountering versus the manifester. It's going to bubble up from within them of what they're here to say. So the thing I love about Substack is regardless of someone's design, it is like the perfect sandbox for all of them
Mhm.
because it is like heaven for a generator or manifesting generator to respond. Okay. I mean, one of the things my clients has said is like, because I'm a manifesting generator, they're just like, I never have nothing to say anymore because I go into my feed and it's so rich and it's all thought leaders, right? It's like thought leaders and it's rich and it's intelligent and deep that they'll read something and they're like, right? Like they get that, "Ooh, I'm going to share this." And that's why I love that they can actually just highlight someone else's thing and share it. That's such a generator, manifesting generator thing to do. They're responding. An initiator, also known as a manifester, can really come into the platform and be like, "This is what I'm here to say." And then, of course, all the generators and manifesting generators are responding, right? It's beautiful. And then you've got the advisors, projectors, also known as projectors, who, listen, I love my projector friends. They're 20% of the population. They have this aura that literally can penetrate the soul of another person. Okay. That is why sometimes can come across wrong because maybe they weren't invited into that soul. Maybe they weren't invited into that space. And so they can feel at times like, do I have to be invited to speak? Because I don't want it, right? And so one of the big things for projectors is if they can demonstrate their authority in an area, if they can present themselves as an expert as something, they get the invitation. And it's hard to do that in a 15-second reel on Instagram. But when
Mhm.
we're on Substack, you get to actually share your expertise and you get to become across as the authority and you're going to get the invitations. You can bring the long form depth and it's beautiful. And then the beautiful things about our evaluators, also known as reflectors, is they get to witness everything that's happening in there and give their perspective. That's their gift. They can mirror back what they're seeing. And it's like this treasure trove for them because the gift of the evaluator is almost like the bigger the space of people they're in, the better their gifts can come out because
Mhm.
they're here to evaluate a society, a big community, a corporation, a country, whatever that may be. So they can come into Substack and they can really evaluate and reflect back to the community what they're seeing with insights. It's beautiful. So just at even the type standpoint, there's stuff for everyone in there. And then we can go so much deeper in, well, what are the voices and what are their superpowers? They're also known as channels in human design. We call them superpowers. We look at also things like, your core four, also known as your incarnation cross. Like, what's your purpose? What are you here to do and to lead? We look at things like cycles because we go through different cycles in our lives. So we look at my women, we look at the Chiron cycle, which is your 50s cycle. What else are you here to say? And how is it developing and growing based on your Chiron chart? Like really cool, interesting things. Here's the most important part of it. They get clarity and confidence.
Mm.
And that's actually all someone needs. When they have clarity on what they want to say and they have confidence in their convictions and what they're here to say, they will say it. And how they say it, they know. We teach in human design, you got to trust your, your inner authority and strategy. What feels right? Does it feel right to speak? Does it feel right to write? Does it feel great when you're live? Like, we really have people get into their bodies, and your body will tell you. Your body will tell you, like, what is the best mode of communication for you. Start there, lead there, and you can always repurpose across
Mm-hmm.
the other venues as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, so many thoughts right now. It's so interesting. And I know for me personally, it so I'm a manifestor
Mhm.
and I'm a 6'4". So I'm supposed to be
Four
like,
six, a 4-6.
so I've always, that's the thing is
There's
I
no
see it both
6-4.
ways. So it's funny when I've gotten reading or not, like paid for readings and stuff and it says 6'4". So you're saying,
There's no 6-4. Doesn't
okay,
exist.
I will keep that in my
Yeah.
head. It's like,
There are 12. There are 12. The 6 can be a 6. It can be a 6-2
uh-huh.
or a 6-3, or you can have a 3-6 or 4-6. But those are the only ones with sixes. And so if you have a 4 and a 6, you're probably a 4-6. Probably a
Okay.
4-6.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's real. I see. I'm not the expert in this, so I was like, oh, well, maybe that means the 6 is more dominant than the 4s because I've
Well,
seen it
what's
done both
interesting is
ways.
the number that's in front is is a descriptor of how your mind and personality work.
Hmm.
The number on the other side is your body and how people actually experience you and your physical body. So one number is really around mind personality, and the other number is around your physicality, your physical presence.
Hmm.
Yeah. And what people,
And it's only ever 4-6. It would never be 6'4". Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to go check. Like, where was I getting the 6'4"? Well, regardless,
yeah.
for 6. And so for me, a lot of the validation, because we all get taught a certain way to market and sell and blah blah blah, right? And so I think it's helpful, especially as a business coach. It's helpful for me to know those things. But when I started applying certain things to my business based on what other people were suggesting, it like totally took me in the wrong direction. And it was very disorienting because it was people that I trusted. It was people that were being promoted as like, look at what they're doing, look at all the money they're making. And it totally took me off of everything that I had built my business from back when there was no business coaching. Like, I started my business before business coach. Like, I think Marie Forleo was like the business coach, right? So it's like, I think I had started stuff so independently with just what I felt was the right thing to do, which from a manifestor perspective is like,
Totally right.
I'm supposed to be big. And I feel like so much of where the market went in the last few years was like, tell people what they want to hear so you can get their money, basically.
100%.
And I get like understanding your client and being able to communicate to what they want. Like, I'm not, saying that that's not a thing, but I think it went so extreme to just be like, all you should talk about is what your client wants. And so for me, as somebody who's like, I I really feel like my business is part of just how I express myself. It's not just making money. It's literally like, if I didn't have my business, I don't know what I would be doing with my life, basically.
Same.
And so I really had to kind of have like a come to Jesus moment in the last year where I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I doing it this way? I hate this. This is so off-putting. I hate seeing it. I hate other people using it on me. And like, it just makes the whole experience of online business feel so transactional, so fake, so like everybody's just trying to make a buck. And I just had this moment where I was like, I am just opting out and I don't even care if I make less money because I would rather be enjoying my business again and making less money. We can cut expenses. Like, I don't even care. I need to enjoy this again. And I feel like for me, digging into like the birth chart stuff and all of that, just seeing it reflected back to be like, no, actually, I am designed to share what I think independently of what my audience is specifically asking about. And the right people are going to come with me on that. And I feel like even just having that perspective shift to be like, I don't need to be so focused on what people want to hear and I need to say what I need to say. Like, that has like dramatically changed how I have felt in my business this year, regardless of all of the like financials and other things going on. It's like, I just feel so much more interested in putting.
Permission. You like have permission to what you already knew. And that I think the thing I love so much about, you know, and I rewrote the whole system. I rewrote it for women in a more practical way because
Mhm.
otherwise, there's no way someone's going to go and study their own design. It's like you need a thesaurus and dictionary, and it's
Mhm.
so confusing and so esoteric and all the things. So I rewrote the whole all the language so to be by a woman for women, and so they can study. They can actually have the breakthrough. I think that what's so cool, my favorite part, the thing that happens to almost everyone is they cry or have the chills or like there's this like soul level connection to the language because it's like it's a confirmation. They're like, that is how I feel. That is what I knew. Like, right? And the thing that is so fascinating is that, and there's lots of parts of your design that can show us this. One of the biggest ones is profile, that there are marketing and sales strategies that are completely wrong for certain profiles that are perfectly fine for other profiles. So you wonder why when one person, the one guru is saying, go do this, and it doesn't work for a lot of the people, but it works for some of the people. Why? Because energetically, it works for some people, and other people, it's completely off-putting, either for themselves or the receiver,
Mhm.
right?
Or both,
So
probably.
both. So when you think of like the DM strategy and all of those things, right? Like there are some profiles slash types that like that combo where it just works. It just works. Like the way they come across, even if they're all using the same words, right? Like even if everyone's using the same words, it just works for some people. It doesn't for others. And I think what's so fun is when you really get to know yourself, you stop spending money on stupid things that don't work.
Mhm.
And you just start to actually really own, just like you were saying, you own like with clarity and confidence, like, no, this is my lane. This is where I thrive. I'm putting the blinders on and I'm doing my own thing the way I know it's going to work. Life altering.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think even to your point about all the like, I call it, like, low dopamine business where, when you're on Instagram, you're getting shouted at right and left about, like, live launches are dead and no one shows up live anymore, or like, "Oh, if you're a mom, you need to do evergreen because, like, your nervous system can't handle, fluctuations in your revenue," or whatever, and so you're, like, getting, like, all this stuff at you right and left, and I think for me, just having that ability to be like, "No, that's not for me," and just scroll on and not get that like, "Oh shit, maybe I'm doing things the wrong way." And I feel like I'm a pretty confident person. And it's just the last couple of years just getting I think it's because I got taken off track so hard and didn't realize it until I was like, a few miles down the road. And then getting back to where I needed to be kind of in this like, I don't know. Now I don't know if I trust myself, right? And then like getting back into, okay, actually I do know. And this is the way I'm going. Having that ability to just like mentally just be like, no, not for me. I don't even care. It's not like
It's
just
huge.
your
It's
element. Yeah.
I went through something so similar where I, had a bunch of success in 2020, 2021, early 2022, and then the same thing. I was taken completely off track because again, like a mentor was like, live launching, you shouldn't be live launching. You really need to set yourself up with automations and, funnels. Like this is where you can't keep doing this and da 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 da. And I went down this whole pathway that didn't work. Like my revenue like cut in half. And I was like, I know what works. And I went back to the thing that I know works for me. And I'm still doing it to this day. And the business is exploding. So
Hmm.
don't tell me this isn't working or that isn't working. It all works. It has to be the right thing for you. And you also have to make adjustments because the market's adjusted. So the live launching that's always worked for me, it's different in how I'm doing it than how I was doing it in 2020.
Hmm.
Right? Because the market's changed. So you have to make adjustments and you have to change, but you have to trust yourself. And I
Hmm.
think that it's so loud out there. And you think about it, you're a confident person. I'm a pretty confident person. We have women come to us in tears from the amount of money that they and time that they have spent trying to like even just get their first 5 clients. It's
Mhm.
like exhausting. It's just it's so sad. And it's because of all those ads that are making all of these promises that it's so easy. I
Mhm.
screenshot them all the time. Like there was, I'm still on some people's email list because I just actually love to screenshot. I never use their names, but I love to screenshot the insanity of the subject lines and whatever. And I show my audience because I'm like, stop falling for this because just stop because you're going to like, I always tell everyone this is hard. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you go do XYZ and boom. Like, no,
Mhm.
I'm never going to say that. So, could I actually make a lot more money than I'm even making right now because I'm pretty good at ads and all those things? Yeah, 100% because I could do all of those things. I'm not, it's not an integrity for me to do those things. I'm going
Mhm.
to tell you this is hard. And we're going to get in and get dirty and we're going to roll up our sleeves and because that's how this works.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where the market is gonna swing back to, that people actually appreciate that. So my hope is that you will make tons more money because you're willing to say that and not be like, make 6 figures in 6 days or whatever, right?
For $6.
Right, right, right. Well, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, so thank you for coming on and sharing all of this. I am, like, so on the same wavelength as you, and it's just really cool to get to chat with somebody who sees things similarly. I mean, I'm sure we have different life experiences. You're, at a later decade than me, so I'm gonna be 39 next week, so I'm like, "All right, getting close to 40, like, gotta start, like, going into the next phase where I feel like we're actually making progress here and I'm not learning all the lessons." So it's just really cool to be able to chat with somebody who's got so many things that are like, yes, I agree. Yes.
I love it.
So all of that to say, I know there's so many things that you can share with people. And we're gonna link to all your stuff in the show notes. If somebody's like either or both, because I feel like it would be both, wanting to learn more about the human design angle for how that affects their business, and or they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea Substack was so cool. What do I do next?" Where can they find you, and what would you wanna send them to?
Yeah, well, it's so cool because I actually am going so all in on Substack that I actually shifted my main domain to be my Substack.
I saw that. Oh, like,
Wow.
that's cool.
Yeah, so julieciardi.com, just go there and it actually lands you right on my main Substack page that has human design, Substack, everything's in one place, which is so nice. You can run a free report there. You can check out, what I've got with Substack. And then I have a podcast called Substack by Design. So it's a great place and resource. I've been really trying to share all the ins and the outs. I started it a little while ago, but I think there's already like 20, maybe 20 episodes on there. And it's just really trying to help share as much as I possibly can about all the things on Substack. Strategies. I also incorporate human design into I can't not. I just can't not. Like it's just integrated into everything. That even on Substack by Design, which is why it's called by Design, we talk about, human design and really this new era we're going into, like it's happening, like people, it's called the era of the individual. We're coming off of a 400-year cycle. Bye-bye. And we're moving into this whole new era. It's really, truly the feminine rising. It is truly all about the individual and being able to trust your intuition and not having to listen to all the gurus. We're moving into this beautiful era. And so I really try to incorporate that into why this is also the time to step into something like a Substack with your voice, with what you're here to say, because I'm calling them new era leaders. We need new era leaders, right? And so this is that opportunity to really step into it. So that's a great thing too. That Substack by Design is on all the platforms, so you can also check out that podcast.
I love it. I'm, like, so interested. I'm gonna go dive into your Substack later because, like I said, I feel like it's a weird thing where it's a newish platform, but it reminds me of what things were like when I got into this 15 years ago, which is very nice. It was a lot. I mean, it wasn't easy, but nobody expected it to be easy, right? So you're just like, you show up, you build your body of work, you have an opinion, and people find you and you start to grow, right? That was the way we used to do it. So it's exciting to
You'll
know
have
that.
to let me know if it has that nostalgic feel and all of that and what you think, and obviously let me know if you have any questions. Here to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Julie, like I said, it was so cool to get to chat with you. And I think we could go for another few hours on all of this. So, really happy to have you on the show. And if you guys are enjoying this, go say hi to Julie, go follow her on Substack. And I know we connected on Instagram, so I know you're there a little bit at least.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you're on Instagram, I definitely recommend.
Well, my 23 and 21-year-olds speak to me in reels, so I'm
Oh,
not going
jeez.
anywhere off of Instagram. If they're on there, I'm staying on there. It's so funny, they crack me up. So yeah, so no, I'm over there too. So wherever you're comfortable, definitely reach out if especially if you need any help or you have any questions too.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Julie. And thanks for all of you hanging out with us. We'll see you here next week on the Fed. Oh my gosh, I almost said Fed and Fearless. We're time traveling. The Nourished CEO podcast. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nourished CEO podcast. And if this episode got you thinking about how you're actually wired to run your business, your next step is to take the CEO type quiz. Because here's the thing. Most of the business advice out there was built for someone specific. And if that someone isn't you, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how many strategies you implement. It's just never going to feel right, and it's never going to work as well as it should. Knowing your CEO type changes all of that. After you take the quiz, your results page will walk you through your natural strengths, your biggest blind spots, and a concrete game plan for your offers, messaging, sales, and even your calendar, all built around how you actually think and lead. Not generic advice, your specific direction. It takes about 5 minutes and it's completely free. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to lauraschoenfeld.com/quiz. And if you already know your type and this episode resonated with you, share the quiz with someone else who needs it. The right framework at the right time can completely change how someone sees their business. And honestly, that's exactly why I made this. All right, I'll see you next time on the Nourished CEO podcast.